But first, the top stories. Chandrayaan-2 launch called off for today due to technical snag in the launch vehicle system. ISRO says launch called off as a measure of abundant precaution. Revised date to be announced later. Flood situation remains grim in North Bihar due to rise of water level of all the major rivers. In Assam too, no respite from flood fury due to incessant rain. And in neighbouring Nepal, the death toll touches 60 in rain and flood-related incidents. Delegates from India and Pakistan meet at the Atari-Wagah border, discuss the modalities and draft agreement for facilitation of pilgrims on the Kartarpur Sahib corridor. The corridor is expected to be made operational by November, ahead of the commemoration of the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak. Celebrations to mark the 20th anniversary of Kargil victory begins in New Delhi. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh pays tributes to the martyrs. Lights the victory flame at the National War Memorial. The flame will travel through 11 towns and cities to finally culminate at the Kargil War Memorial in Dras. International Arbitration Court imposes a penalty of $5.97 billion in Pakistan for unlawful denial of a mining lease to a company for the Reko Deep project in 2011. In sports news, England win the first ever Cricket World Cup after incredible super over triumph against New Zealand in an epic final at the Lords in London. After a tied match in super over, England crowned champions on the boundaries count. And not far from the Lords, Wimbledon sees Novak Djokovic beat Roger Federer in the men's singles final after a tie-break thriller. This is Djokovic's 5th Wimbledon title and the 16th Grand Slam. Our top story, India's second mission to the moon, Chandrayaan-2 on board GSLV Mk3M1 was called off due to a technical snag today. In a tweet, the ISRO said, I quote, a technical snag was observed in the launch vehicle system at T56 minute. As a measure of abundant precaution, Chandrayaan-2 launch has been called off for today. The revised launch date will be announced later, unquote. The liftoff of the three-component spacecraft weighing 3,850 kilograms and comprising an orbiter, the lander and the rover was scheduled for 2:51 in the wee hours from Satish Dhawan Space Center from Sriharikota. However, the countdown was held back with 56.24 minutes to go for the launch. Monday's mission was to follow the successful maiden lunar mission Chandrayaan-1 launched in 2008. The rocket Chandrayaan-1, which made more than 3,400 orbits around the moon, was operational for 312 days till August 2009. The 978 crore rupee Chandrayaan-2 on-board geosynchronous launch vehicle GSLV Mk3M1 was scheduled to take 54 days to accomplish the task of landing on the moon through meticulously planned orbital phases. And after a full dress rehearsal last week, the countdown for the mission commenced at 6:51 in the morning on Sunday, and the scientists underwent various stages of propellant filling to power the rocket ahead of the launch.
A technical snag was observed in launch vehicle system at T-56 minutes. As a measure of abundant precaution, Chandrayaan-2 launch has been called off for today. Revised launch date will be announced later.
And let's now go across to our correspondent Philip Matthews, who's joining us on the phone line this morning. Philip, even though the Chandrayaan-2 has been called off, and of course it will be, the launch will take place at a later date, but while Chandrayaan-2 is not just about, there's a lot more than the moon itself, because it's another milestone for Indian technology, Philip. And why I'm saying this is because capabilities, it's a signal achievement of India's capabilities in a wide range of area, whether it be signal and communication or the rocket propulsion or even artificial intelligence for that matter.
Indeed, Nancy, it's a landmark project and one that would have established India's credentials in the front line of space technology. And the fact that it is being called off, of course, is not being seen, at least at the moment, as a major setback. There have been holes in launches before, and those holes have been removed subsequently, and the launch has taken place at a later date. So we will have to wait and see just exactly what went wrong.
Right.
But just about 56 minutes before its launch time of 2:51 a.m., the mission control, put the launch schedule on hold. And in fact, we've been speaking to sources within ISRO, and they've been telling us that the problem appears to have cropped up just after the hydrogen fuel filling operations were completed in the upper cryogenic stage. So clearly that appears to be the place where the problem seems to have cropped up, but that will have to be established once scientists study this in greater detail, and that will take some time because the fuel will have to be drained out from the rocket first, which is quite a laborious and lengthy process, which will take days, and that in effect rules out a launch taking place tomorrow, because there's a very narrow window available, and as per that window, the launch should have taken place tomorrow. But scientists have clearly ruled that out, because the entire process, as I said, would take days, perhaps even weeks, before the fuel is drained out, and then scientists get down to studying what exactly went wrong. The entire rocket will have to be moved back to the vehicle bay, and then the entire structure of the rocket and its systems and subsystems will have to be studied in detail before scientists can arrive at any conclusion. But as the tweets by ISRO indicated, as a matter of abundant caution, they have chosen to call off the launch. So in effect, they have saved the vehicle and the payloads on it, choosing to exercise caution rather than risk the future of the spacecraft and its payloads.
Right, absolutely. But Philip, Chandrayaan-2, this mission once again demonstrates the research and technology that ISRO possesses, because in both the missions, the orbiter, lander and the rover were all developed indigenously. So even though the Chandrayaan-2 has been called off for today, but clearly milestone speaks volumes.
Well, absolutely. I think ISRO has been one of the early proponents of this Make in India initiative. In fact, they've always focused on indigenizing technology, space technology in particular, given the fact that such technology cannot be easily bought off the shelves. Developed countries are not so willing to part with it, and therefore ISRO has had a long-standing program of working on indigenous alternatives to technology in this area. And this, of course, as you rightly said, is the Chandrayaan-2 mission is a mission in which it's almost entirely indigenous, and that includes not just the GSLV Mark III rocket, which is India's most powerful rocket till date. It also includes the orbiter, the rover, the lander, and the rover, all of which are technologies which are pretty new to India. In fact, there are just 3 other countries that have carried out these kind of operations in the past, and that is, of course, they're all frontline spacefaring nations like the US, Russia, and China. And India was bidding to join that club by launching Chandrayaan-2. Therefore, I think in effect, a launch is something that has to be made on the basis of a variety of factors, and it had to be taken into account. And on balance, the scientists of ISRO decided that caution would stand them in better than exercising the risk of going ahead with the launch when one or two key factors were not looking right at that particular moment. So clearly, caution winning over everything else at this moment. Not surprising given the cost of the project and the fact that India, it is a prestigious project for India, and therefore, to rebuild a rocket and a satellite would clearly take much longer. So, delaying the launch is in effect a small price to pay to ensure that things go right the next time.
Absolutely. And we'll all be waiting anxiously for that later date when, of course, Chandrayaan 2 launch will take place. Well, thanks, Philip, very much for joining us and sharing those inputs. Moving on now, in Bihar, relief camps have been set up in the flood-affected areas where cooked food and drinking water is being provided to the affected people. 180 makeshift community kitchens have been opened in Sitamarhi, Shiohar and Araria. 10 districts have been hit by floods in the state. The NDRF and the SDRF teams have been pressed into service for relief and rescue work. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar undertook an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas. Earlier, he chaired a high-level meeting in Patna. He directed officials to open community kitchens and shelters for affected people and speed up the repairing of damaged roads in the flood-ravaged regions. So far, 28 deaths have been reported from the flood-affected areas. And our correspondent Salman Haider is now joining us for more inputs on that. Salman, first of all, give us a sense of the rescue, the relief work that is underway. It must be on a war footing, making sure that minimum loss is caused to life and property, and also the condition of the shelters there, relief camps. What arrangements are there in those relief camps?
Nancy, the situation is really grim here, and SDRF and NDRF teams are doing their best to rescue the people, and the relief camps have been established. The community kitchen have been activated here,
Sure.
and the flood waters have spread in more areas, making the plight of people more grim. Yes, Nancy.
Okay. All right, Salman, thanks for those inputs. We'll, of course, keep a track of developments on that front. Thanks very much. And while in Assam, there is also no respite from the flood fury due to incessant rains, and new areas have also been inundated. Over 26 lakh people are affected in the current wave of floods in 103 revenue circles in 28 districts in Assam. The worst hit districts are Dhemaji, Dhubri and Morigaon. The state government has set up over 300 relief camps, and more than 16,000 inmates are taking shelter in these camps. Over 87,000 hectares of cropped area has also been affected due to flood. Vigil has been intensified in the Kaziranga National Park as well, and other wildlife areas to prevent poaching, as most of the parks are underwater now. A total number of 10 persons lost their lives due to flood and landslides so far. The army, the NDRF and the SDRF and the local people are all carrying out the rescue operation. Relief material including baby food is being provided in the flood-hit areas. Our correspondent Mridusmita is now joining us from Guwahati for more inputs on that. Mridusmita, give us a sense of the situation there and what arrangements to deal with the situation. Of course, it's not getting any better, and the flood fury just seems to be having its overall impact also on the normal life of the people.
Yes, Nancy, of course the situation is not so good, and it has been more grave day by day, and around 84 deep divers have been deployed by the NDRF and SDRF so that people who might be in the flood areas, who are affected by the flood, can be sent to safer areas. And in fact, in the Kaziranga National Park also, that is already said, more than 70% of the area has been submerged, and because of which even animals are also not despair. And in fact, there are been reports that at least 10 animals have died. In fact, if we talk about people, it has increased to 11 numbers as reports earlier, and so the people are still under quite danger as because the Brahmaputra river is above the danger level, and its tributaries are also increasing. The water is increasing as there has been downpour since last year, since last morning, and in fact it is expected that it will keep on raining till another 48 hours so far, according to the Met Department, Nancy.
Okay. So what preparations and what contingency measures for the next 48 hours as well, Midusmita?
Yes, so far the NDRF as well the SDRF people, and in fact the army is also helping out the people who are affected by the flood, and the more inmates are coming to the relief camps, and so far at least 144 houses have been submerged as according to reports around in Assam, like in the 28 districts as it has been reported. And so far people are under very grave situation, and they are just hoping that the rainfall stops and so that the situation comes under control, Nancy.
Okay. All right, Midusmita, thanks for those inputs, but difficult times really for the people of Assam. They're dealing with this crisis arising out of the incessant rain and floods. And moving on now to some political crisis, well, as the crisis that threatens the survival of the Karnataka government continues, resignations by rebel MLAs and attempts to persuade them not to resign also continued. On Saturday, 5 more legislators moved the Supreme Court against the Speaker for not accepting their resignation. The BJP too upped the ante, demanding that the Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy seek a trust vote today. That's a day prior to the Supreme Court hearing on a similar petition of 10 other rebel MLAs of the Congress-JDS coalition who have resigned. The Supreme Court has ordered status quo on the fate of the 10 rebel MLAs, directing the Assembly Speaker to refrain from taking any decision on the matter till Tuesday, that's tomorrow. Meanwhile, the rebel MLA Nagaraj late on Saturday night withdrew his resignation and would remain with the Congress party. In a bid to keep their flock together, both the Congress and the BJP have shifted their MLAs to hotels and resorts. The JDS MLAs have been camping at a resort for the last couple of days. Let's go across now to our correspondent Aisha Khanam, who's joining us on the phone line, keeping a track of developments on that front. Aisha, good morning. The Karnataka conundrum continues, and the spate of resignation by these MLAs has pushed the Karnataka government on the brink of a collapse, and no attempt, really by the coalition to placate these MLAs, just suffering a bigger blow by the day.
Yes, absolutely, Nancy. The weekend was the weekend for convincing these MLAs. The Congress and JDS have tried to bring back the MLAs, despite the fact that one MLA agreed to get back to Congress, but he later changed his mind and joined the rebels. So now the number of rebels in Mumbai are over 12. And all these MLAs have said that they will not withdraw their resignations. And today, a delegation of senior Congress leaders will be trying to meet these MLAs in Mumbai, and they will try to convince him once again. But these MLAs, rebel MLAs, have once again requested the Commissioner of Mumbai not to allow anybody to meet them in the hotel at Mumbai. So they are very clear about the fact that they will not be withdraw their resignations, and Congress and JDS are making desperate attempts to see to that they bring back the MLAs. So today it will be interesting when some of the rebel MLAs who were given the date July 15th to meet the speaker will appear before the speaker before this entire matter went to Supreme Court. So senior Congress leader Ramlinga Reddy he has not made his stand clear still, but he will be meeting the speaker today, and he will explain to the speaker under what circumstances he resigned. But the Congress is confident that Ramlinga Reddy may retract their decision, but that will not help Congress, because Congress now needs at least 6 MLAs to be on its side to keep the government safe. So all eyes will be on the assembly when Kumaraswamy will once again address the speaker and ask for a date for trust vote. So it is very likely that all this is headed to an action-packed Wednesday, when very likely that the trust vote will be placed on the floor of the House.
Okay. All right, Aisha, thanks for those inputs. We'll of course keep coming back to you as and when that happens, and the latest developments coming out of Karnataka. Thanks very much. Moving on now to news from Parliament. In the Rajya Sabha, the Arbitration and the Conciliation Amendment Bill will be introduced today. While in the Lok Sabha, 2 bills will be introduced, including the Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill and the Surrogacy Regulation Bill. One bill, namely National Investigation Agency Amendment Bill, will be put for consideration and passage. Besides that, discussion and the voting on the demands for grants under the control of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for 2019-20 is also listed for today. Moving on now, the second round of talks with Pakistan on the modalities for operationalization of the Kartarpur Sahib corridor was held at the Wagah. During the discussion, India made several proposals for facilitation of the hassle-free journey of pilgrims on the corridor, including granting access to 5,000 pilgrims per day and 10,000 pilgrims on special occasions.
With an aim of taking Kartarpur corridor development inches closer to its final stage, officials from India and Pakistan met to finalize the modalities of the Kartarpur corridor and related technical issues. The Indian delegation was led by SCL Das, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, and comprised of other representatives. Key issues such as connectivity at 0 point and the number of pilgrims to be allowed through the corridor were on the agenda.
Pakistan should reconsider charging any kind of a fees or introducing any kind of a restrictive system, whether in the name of a special permit or any other name.
On the second round of talks, India reiterated its request to Pakistan for allowing 5,000 pilgrims to visit Kartarpur Sahib Gurudwara through the corridor every day, given the expected high demand on our site. India also requested that 10,000 additional pilgrims be allowed to visit on special occasions. Besides, it was also reiterated that not only Indian nationals but also the persons of Indian origin holding OCI cards be allowed to use the Kartarpur corridor facility. The Indian side also said that the movement should be visa-free and Pakistan should reconsider charging any fees or introducing any permit system. It also said that provision should be made for preparation and distribution of langar and prasad for pilgrims. To ensure smooth, hassle-free, all-weather pilgrimage to the holy Gurudwara Kartarpur Sahib throughout the year, Pakistan agreed in principle to build a bridge at the earliest. India also handed over a dossier to Pakistan to highlight its concerns regarding individuals or organizations based in Pakistan who may try to disrupt the pilgrimage and misuse the opportunity to play with the sentiments of the pilgrims.
We have shared our concerns regarding individuals or organizations which are based in Pakistan who may try to disrupt the pilgrimage and misuse the opportunity to play with the sentiments of the pilgrims.
The construction work on the 4.19 kilometers long 4-lane highway connecting the 0 point of the Kartarpur corridor to Gurudaspur Amritsar highway will be completed by September 30th, while that on the passenger terminal complex at Dera Baba Nanak will be completed by October 31st. Fully committed to commence the pilgrimage through Kartarpur corridor on the auspicious occasion of the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev, the government has made significant progress to build a state-of-the-art infrastructure. Also at the meet, both sides have agreed that the technical teams would meet again to ensure that a seamless connectivity for the Kartarpur corridor is operational in time so that the pilgrimage can begin in November 2019.
The issues of all security, smooth and safe journey of the pilgrims were discussed during the meeting held between the Pakistani and Indian officials here at Wagah border. With camera person Indu Dang, this is Abhishek Jha for DD News from Wagah, Pakistan.
The celebrations of the 20th anniversary of the victory in Operation Vijay at Kargil began in Delhi on Sunday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and the Army Chief General Bipin Rawat paid tributes to the martyrs at the National War Memorial, where a victory flame was illuminated. The victory flame will traverse through 11 towns and cities to finally culminate at Dras, wherein the flame will be merged with the eternal flame at the Kargil War Memorial. In some tragic news coming in, 2 people were killed and more than a dozen injured after a joyride at an adventure park broke down yesterday in Ahmedabad. The joyride in Kankaria amusement park Discovery, that was in the shape of a circular pendulum suspended from a pole-like structure. It broke down when the ride was functional and the ride came crashing down, killing 2 people instantly. The Gujarat Home Minister said that the injured are being treated at the hospital. A probe is on to find whether a license and approval was given to the amusement company to operate the joyride. The maintenance of the joyride is being checked by Forensic Sciences Laboratory. Moving on now, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar on Sunday chaired a steering committee meeting of the International Film Festival of India in Panaji. The minister said that IFFI is India's pride and this year's festival is especially significant since it makes the Golden Jubilee edition. On the occasion, the minister and the Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant released special IFFI Golden Jubilee poster. Road shows will be conducted across 7 cities in India to reach out to film fraternity for developing a buzz for the festival. And in some news now from around the world, an international arbitration court has imposed a penalty of over $5 billion on Pakistan for unlawful denial of a mining lease to a company for the Reko-Dik project in 2011. The mine is famous for its vast gold and copper reserves. The Tetian Copper Company had filed claims for international arbitration before the World Bank's International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes in 2012 after the Balochistan government rejected a leasing request from the company. The company had claimed $11.43 billion in damages. The case between the Pakistan government and the company continued for 7 years. A statement issued by the Pakistan Attorney General's office said Prime Minister Imran Khan issued the orders for the formation of a commission to investigate and fix responsibility for the massive loss borne by the country in the case. And the death toll in Nepal from flash floods and landslides has gone up to 60, with dozens missing and injured. 10,000 people have been displaced from their homes as incessant monsoon rains pounded many areas in mostly mountainous Nepal since Thursday, submerging large areas of land, inundating homes and destroying bridges and roads across the country. The Kosi River that flows into Bihar was among those that had risen above the flood level. The Kosi has been a serious concern for both India and Nepal since it broke its banks in 2008 and changed course, submerging large areas of land and affecting more than 2 million people in Bihar. In some other news now, Iran is ready to hold talks with the US if Washington lifts sanctions and returns to the 2015 nuclear deal it quit last year. This was stated by Iranian President Hassan Rouhani in a televised speech yesterday. US President Donald Trump's administration says it is open to negotiations with Iran on a more far-reaching agreement on nuclear and security issues. But Iran has made any talks conditional on first being able to export as much oil as it did before the US withdrew from the nuclear pact that with the world powers in May 2018. Confrontations between Washington and Tehran have escalated, culminating in a plan for US airstrikes on Iran last month that Trump called off at the last minute. And in news now from Greece, in fact we'll get to that news in just a bit, but first talking about the US storm Barry, the tropical storm Barry that downgraded to a tropical depression trudged through northwestern Louisiana in the US. Barry led up to 15 inches of rain in some places, creating life-threatening flood conditions along the Mississippi River. The National Weather Service warns of ongoing dangers posed by the storm surging and the possibility of tornadoes in areas including parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. Barry, that made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on Saturday, then quickly weakened to a tropical storm. And in Greece, authorities evacuated dozens of citizens from flooded homes in western Greece yesterday, a few days after 7 people were killed by a violent storm in the north of the country. Such severe storms are unusual in Greece, where summers are usually hot and dry. No injuries or missing persons were reported though. 7 people, including 6 tourists, were killed and more than 100 others injured on Thursday when an overnight storm lashed northern Greece. And in Indonesia, a magnitude 7.3 earthquake hit the Moluccas Islands, leaving people in panic. There was, however, no immediate reports of casualties or major damage. Aftershocks have already been recorded. Indonesia's Met Agency said the quake was not in danger of causing a tsunami. The most devastating earthquake in recent Indonesian history was in 2004, when a magnitude 9.5 quake triggered a massive tsunami that killed around 2,26,000 people along the shorelines of the Indian Ocean, including more than 1,26,000 in Indonesia. And after all that international news, it's time now for us to get you all the news from the world of finance and business. Ajay is joining us for that.
Thank you, Nasim. Good morning to all. Welcome all to Finance World. Let's start with the markets, and the June quarterly earnings and macroeconomic data will dictate the market trends in this week. The progress of monsoon, trends in global markets, the movement of rupee against the dollar, and crude oil price movement, inflows from foreign portfolio investors and domestic institutional investors will also dictate the trend. The wholesale price inflation rate for June 2019 will be announced on Monday, that is today. Besides the balance of trade data for the month of June 2019 for the week ended in the last week, in the week ended Friday, the Sensex fell 777 points or 1.97% to settle at 38,736 level. The Nifty 50 index fell 259 points or 2.19% to settle at 11,553. The BSE Mid Cap Index fell 172 points, while the BSE Sense Small Cap Index fell 365 points or 2.58%. The Union Minister R.K. Singh had said that the aim of the centre is to have one nation, one grid and pay damages to consumers in the case of load shedding. After the budget announcement of a package for power sector, the ministry has said that it would seek the Union Cabinet's nod for the power sector tariff in the next few days, which would provide the penalty for unscheduled power cuts, except in the case of technical faults or natural calamities. And in a bid to deal with the stress in NBFC sector, the guidelines will be issued soon for the state-owned banks to take over pooled assets of non-banking financial companies. A finance ministry official told the news agency PTI. To address the stress in the sector, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the budget proposed that the power sector banks would purchase the high-rated pooled assets of financially sound NBFCs amounting to total 1 lakh crore rupees during the current financial year. For this, the government will provide one-time 6-month partial credit guarantee to PSBs for the first loss of up to 10%. Well, that will be the relief for few NBFCs, but not all who are actually not doing good because of several reasons. That's all in the Finance World. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ajay, for all those inputs from the finance wall. Let's now move on to sports news, and yes, big 2 stories coming in from there. First, the World Cup. England won their maiden Cricket World Cup title in dramatic circumstances at the Lords on Sunday, while the match went into a super over following a tie in the final. And the super over also ended in a tie, but England lifted the trophy due to a tie-break rule that because they hit the most boundaries. Now, while England celebrated, it was another heartbreaking loss for New Zealand, who also finished as the runners-up in the previous World Cup in 2015 after losing to Australia in the finals.
The ICC and His Royal Highness the Duke of
England won Men's World Cup for the first time as they beat New Zealand following a dramatic sudden death super over in one of the most thrilling matches in the cricket history. Both sides scored 241 runs from their 50 overs, meaning they had to bat again for 6 balls each.
brilliant piece of work from Bolt.
England sat New Zealand 16 to win, but with 2 needed from the final ball, Black Caps batsman Martin Guptill scored 1 before being run out. That meant the super over scores were tied and England won on virtue of having scored more boundaries in the match. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson elected to bat first, but his gamble backfired as they lost opener Martin Guptill early when he was captured LBW by fast bowler Chris Wokes. Williamson's graft and a bit of gumption from Nicholas helped New Zealand rebuild as they took New Zealand past 100 runs. Williamson was marching towards 600 runs in a tournament before Liam Plunkett once again emerged as a partnership breaker. Still, Williamson's 578 runs are the most by a captain in a single edition of a World Cup. Soon Henry Nicholas became Plunkett's second victim for 55. His double strike broke through New Zealand's resistance. At 118 for 3, New Zealand were again on a sticky wicket. Ross Taylor laboured his way to 15 for 31 when he was trapped LBW by Mark Wood. It was Tom Latham's 47 of 56 that set England a challenging total. New Zealand had gone without a boundary from 20th over to 33rd, but Latham's timely hits carried them over 200. However, D. Grant Holmes' dismissal in the 47th over hurt New Zealand's chances of going past 250.
He never looked comfortable after being hit on the head by Jofra Archer, and it was a wicket waiting to happen.
New Zealand seamers rocked England's top order to revive Black Caps' hopes. England, also bidding for a maiden crown, were 93 for 4 at the halfway stage of their innings. That left them needing a further 149 runs in 25 overs to reach a victory target of 242 on a tricky pitch. After that, Ben Stokes and Josh Butler added 110 runs for the 5th wicket to revive England's innings. But at the crucial juncture of the match, England lost Josh Butler. Incredibly, England fell 1 run short of reaching the target, which led to a super over. Stokes and Butler were the pair to bat for England's super over, with the duo superbly scoring 15 runs between them to set a target of 16 for New Zealand to chase. Once again, it went down to the final ball in the super over, and it was England who pulled off one of the greatest World Cup victories in history on virtue of having scored more boundaries in the match. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD News, London.
And here are some of the reactions of the fans on England winning the World Cup.
Well, England managed to win the 2019 Cricket World Cup, and I got with me some fans who came all the way from Indonesia to talk on what they felt was such an exhilarating game of cricket. What do you have to say on that?
According to me, this has never happened, but today it was just like unbelievable whatever happened today.
Yeah, amazing. But at one given time, we did not know who actually won and why they won.
Yes,
because
England!
The runs were equal in the super over. So what was the deciding factor? We did not know at that time.
It was an amazing. I almost lost my heart. It was such a great, exciting match.
What about you, sir? Did you want to speak?
Very nice game. Enjoy. Congratulations, England.
I don't think we'll get to be so excited in this lifetime or in the next lifetime. Yeah. This is the best game ever.
Can't believe it. But, you know, 4 years' time, we'll be in India. We'll be, like, more prepared. We'll have more Kiwis in the crowd.
Second time unlucky, you feel that somewhere down the line it slipped?
No, last World Cup we were destroyed. This World Cup we should have won it. One overthrow, that was it.
First time ever it's happened is unbelievable. We thought it was lost. Stokes and Butler pulled it back, and then Butler got out. Again, I thought it was lost, but what a finish. I mean, unlucky at the end there was Stokes knocking the ball with the boundary. I was a bit unlucky for New Zealand, but look, I think overall the best team won. I would say I wouldn't know I'm English, but I don't know. What do you reckon?
What do you think? Do you think that Stokes and Butler partnership was crucial?
Yeah, it was. I thought after Roots and Morgan both got out, I was like, oh, we've lost it, there's no point trying. But I knew that they were going for the singles, going for the quick runs, and then in about the last 10 overs they started to hit them harder, and then when Butler got out, same, I thought it was lost as well. But Stokes brought it back.
And the fact that it actually went to a draw at the end of the Super Over as well. Such an amazing match, once in a lifetime, never to repeat it. What a historic match. England won, the best team. The Cricket World Cup has come home.
It's my first match. I've never been to a cricket match before.
Follow more cricket.
Hopefully, yes, definitely.
What a first match to come to. What a first match to come to.
Yeah, I've travelled from Blackpool all the way and we cheered for England. It was a nail-biting finish, but it was very hard to get the tickets. But we managed to get the tickets. I really enjoyed it.
Great match and went into a great tie. Super over, first time I've seen it. It's excellent, awesome game of cricket.
Super over, exciting finish, and England fans are happy. The cup has come home. With cameraman S. Shankar, this is Tapush Bhattacharya, TD News, Lord's Cricket Stadium.
And let's talk about the second big match of last evening. Well, yes, it's Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic saved 2 championship points to retain his Wimbledon title with the thrilling final set tie-break win over Roger Federer on a centre court with an atmosphere that felt at times more akin to football than tennis. Djokovic won 7-6, 1-6, 7-6, 4-6, 13-12. The Serbian world number 1 has now won 16 Grand Slam titles. The clock hit 4 hours 57 minutes when Federer scooped a shot high to hand Djokovic victory.
Championship at Wimbledon. One can understand the disappointment, but it's not Federer's moment. It is Novak Djokovic's, and one can only respect.
But what a match that was, the longest ever final played there. Moving on now, star India grappler Vinesh Fogart won her second consecutive gold in 53 kilograms, winning the Yasar Dogu International with a commanding victory over Russia's Ekaterina in Istanbul. The top Indian woman wrestler who stood atop the podium at Grand Prix of Spain last week beat her Russian opponent 9-5 in the final of the UWW Ranking Series tournament. Vinesh was the third gold in the women's competition for India after Seema triumphed in 50 kg category and Manju in 59 kg category. En route to the gold medal bout, Vinesh won 2 of her 3 bouts by technical superiority. The Adani Group from Ahmedabad, the RPG Sanjeev Goenka Group for Pune, the Tatas for Ranchi and Jamshedpur and some other corporate houses are likely to be the top bidders as the Indian Premier League, the world's most sought-after cricket property, gets ready to expand from 8 teams to 10. 8 years after the BCCI first tried a similar expansion in 2011 and withdrew within the next 2 years owing to multiple controversies, a blueprint is getting ready again, well, thanks to the league's ambitious stakeholders. The owners and executives from the IPL ecosystem got together in London this weekend to discuss the league and concluded that the IPL would benefit from the introduction of 2 new franchises in 2020, making them part of the playing mechanism in 2021. Star India head, who had shelled out a massive 16,347 crore rupees for 5-year IPL rights in 2017, is not averse to the idea of expansion. The BCCI CEO Rahul Johri, who is in London, confirmed that a meeting was held between the owners of the IPL franchises and other stakeholders. And with that, let's now move on to our next segment, the morning print, to get you a glimpse of what the national dailies are carrying this morning. We are beginning first with the Times of India, but this is a story that's making it to the first page of every newspaper. And yes, this is talking about the 2 big matches last evening, the Cricket World Cup and Wimbledon, a heart-stopper and a tied super over, 2 unbelievable epics for the ages. And in fact, sports enthusiasts were in a dilemma on Sunday night over which game to watch, as 2 spine-tingling, nerve-shredding matches played out within a few kilometers of each other in London. I'm sure that confusion prevailed over the minds of all of us. But talking about this World Cup, well, England has won it for the first time, and yes, they had hit more boundaries, and England also benefited from 2 huge strokes of luck in the final overs. And talking about Wimbledon, well, what a match it was, the longest ever final between Djokovic and Roger Federer, and Djokovic winning his 5th Wimbledon title. They're fighting off 2 championship points to defeat Roger Federer. Okay, moving on now to this news from the Pioneer, and this is talking about Chandrayaan 2, how it was indigenously developed, all the parts, Make in India parts for Chandrayaan 2, while important components of the modules of India's ambitious second lunar mission Chandrayaan 2, which has been called off for today and will be launched at a later date, have been manufactured by a union government run center. And in fact, this is talking about how the Bhubaneswar based institution had started manufacturing the parts for the country's prestigious lunar mission in March 2017 itself. Moving on now to this news from Hindustan Times, and this is talking about how EV courses and fresh tie-ups to power the Skill India engine, and why this EV push is so important. It's talking about that as well, that the move is coming in the wake of Niti Aayog's proposal of making all the commercial vehicles run on electric power from 2026, and while the government is set to revamp its flagship Skill India mission, which was pegged in fact during the previous 4 years, by starting new courses related to electric vehicles in collaborations with the top multinational and Indian firms, and in fact these introductions will also be made of the new industrial training courses as well. And towards the end, one news item from the Asian Age, and this is talking about how US is beginning sweeps targeting 2,000 undocumented immigrants, while the immigration authorities in the US have begun conducting raids, and in operation expected to target about 2,000 undocumented immigrants ordered by the courts. And the raids, which will focus on recent arrivals, are slated for Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New York and San Francisco. With that, it's a wrap on the morning print for now. Let's move on now to our next segment, the history of the day, to check the significance of this day in the past. On this day in 1916, world's largest aerospace company, Boeing, started. In 1979, former Prime Minister Morarji Desai announced his resignation as the Premier of the country after numerous defections from the coalition in Parliament. On the same day in 2013, telegraph service was suspended, which lasted nearly 160 years. And a look now at the important events for today. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to be the chief guest at the World Youth Skills Day and 4th anniversary celebrations of the Skill India mission at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. Other union ministers will also attend the event. A global development conclave in connection with the Rebuild Kerala project to be held in Thiruvananthapuram to get financial and technological support through international agencies. Madhya Pradesh unit of the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha to hold a drive across the state to register 5.5 lakh new members of the BJP in a single day. The 32-kilometer uphill yatra to Srikhand Mahadev at an altitude of 19,000 feet in Nirmand region of Kullu in Himachal Pradesh to begin under strict security arrangements. And our health story of the day, while monsoon showers are eagerly awaited by children and parents alike. They are a welcome change from the sweltering summers, but they bring some unwelcome guests which must be avoided at all costs. Let's take a look at these health tips and precautions to stay healthy and happy during monsoon.
Risk of diseases and infections goes high during monsoon. How to keep healthy in this season? To talk about this, we have with us Dr. Sunil M. Raheja. Dr. Raheja, what are the common problems seen during monsoon?
Vector-borne diseases, dengue, chikungunya, malaria, then waterborne infections like diarrhea, abdominal cramps, bacterial infection, gastroenteritis, cholera, typhoid, and jaundice, hepatitis A and E, and viral infection like URI, common cold, cough, and skin infections like fungal infection in the skin, they are more common.
What precautions can be taken to prevent diseases during the rainy season?
We must ensure that our house and its surroundings, they are clean and dry so that there is no mosquito breeding. It's important that we eat hygienically, we cook our food hygienically, we must wash our hands before cooking. While cooking, hygiene should be maintained, and before eating also we must ensure that we wash our hands. We have a balanced nutritious diet, and preferably cook only what you can consume the same day, eat fresh, eat healthy, and that will improve your immunity also. And don't spit here and there, have cough etiquettes, use hankies or tissue papers and put them in a dustbin with the lid. And because the humidity is high, it's important that skin infections are also more, because the fungal infections are more. So it's important that we keep our body clean also.
Thank you, Dr. Raheja, for talking to us. If you want to keep healthy during monsoon, be cautious, take care of hygiene and prevent health problems in this season. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
So take care of yourself, and let's now get your goodies in the story. Well, there are few who overcome all the obstacles in their life to follow their passion and also succeed in their dreams. Today we are telling you the story of Gokaran Patil from Bhilai in Chhattisgarh. Gokaran is a painter and he succeeds in his craft despite severe disabilities.
Gokaran Patil is disabled of both hands. He is also mute. Could not stop him from displaying his extraordinary talent as an artist. These paintings by Gokaran are a testimony to his passion and potential. He uses his toes to paint. People are surprised and moved to see his work. As a result, Gokaran's popularity has travelled far and wide. Unique. Once he grasps a face, he can replicate the same on his canvas beautifully. He manages all his daily chores by himself. He is also trained in computer application and is an MA in fine arts. While Gokaran continues to conquer various artistic frontiers, his zeal to succeed despite the challenges in life serve as an inspiration to one and all. Mohammad Farooq and Sunil Tiwari's report for DD News.
And let's now take a look at the weather in your city for today. And with that, it's a wrap of this edition of the news, but we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. But before we go today, we are leaving you with the glimpses of Bastille Day celebrations in Paris with the performance of a flying soldier and the Eiffel Tower fireworks. Take a look at these visuals and we wish you a great day ahead. Thanks for being with us.